Hello, Internet! I'm back at ya! It's Friday, 7 p.m. I'm Sneaky Devil. That sounds like a recipe for Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9001. Now, we're still collecting people to hop on into the stream, but we're gonna start real quick, as soon as those people actually pop up.
Unfortunately, Max is dead. So
yep, Max died. Yeah, it was a terrible accident. Prayer book and holy water were involved.
Don't forget the most important part, the rope.
And the rope. Right, the rope. Can't forget the rope. Now, we got some things for y'all. And I hope you will take sick enjoyment out of them. Because I'm not really sure how to describe them yet, because I haven't even pulled it up. But today's chapter is going to be Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. That one looks really awful. Let's do it.
Isn't that what we always do?
Yes. Okay, and as always, per Twitch guidelines, and I feel like I should start updating all the old streams into YouTube again, but like the YouTube account's just dead. It like we get 0 views these days. It's just dead. But at the same time, I kind of want to have everything archived.
I mean, how long a gap is there?
I mean, I stopped doing it like a month or 2 ago.
I mean, ultimately it's up to you. It's not that big a gap.
But anyway, so let me just this is actually a chapter brought to you by Zexels. So Guten Abend Kameraten. Well, hello. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume you said words. Yo, you want to turn Atin's voice up? I mean, I guess I can.
So terribly sorry.
Yes. Alright, so, yeah, as usual, per Twitch guidelines, don't do the things that...
Don't be a fucking asshole.
No. Just don't talk to them. I'm not telling them to be an asshole, just say don't talk to them, or contact them, or look in their general direction.
Because that could get us in trouble. And then you wouldn't have this show anymore.
Brought to you by Zexels, yes. Suthner! Suthner in it! Anyway. Rebirth of a maelstrom. He died at the hands of his best friend. This actually has to go into the cover tricks. Okay, boom. And it should have been over for him, except nothing's normal when it comes to Naruto, as he was reborn, more powerful than anyone could have imagined him becoming. With he will forge his own way, his own destiny, where no fate can bind him to imaginary strings. What? Exactly the way he likes it. Okay, Scene 1, you're getting real purple prosy there. No fate can bind him to imaginary strings. If the strings are imaginary, then they aren't real. If you wanted to use a better word to imply that fate is still binding the character with strings, as if they're a puppet in a play, then the best word to use would be like metaphysical, or theoretical, or not non-existent. That's what imaginary means. They don't exist.
Thank you, Dr. Sneaky.
Oh, good. We got everyone. Everyone's here! Just kidding, not Luigi.
Never, Luigi.
I called you a whore in Russian. No, it's Suka Block is a fucking bitch. Iti Nahui is whore.
Thank you, Dota 2.
Anyway, also, stronger than he ever imagined him getting. Naruto is pretty much literally God by the time Boruto rolls around. He's gonna get stronger than that? Question
I was
mark?
gonna say he's God and Sasuke is like 3/4 God.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
And Sakura is still.
You know why it's called Boruto? Because it's Naruto that's fucking boring.
He's not wrong. Sneaky. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, isn't even Sakura's own daughter more powerful than she is?
Yeah, because she has the Sharingan Minanamunugagan. Also, she's like, I have the Sharingan. There's only one person in existence with the genetic Sharingan. Who's my father? I can't
Clearly
figure
it's
it
Naruto.
out.
Sneaky. No one ever accused her of inheriting her mother's meager intelligence.
Okay, but she was supposedly basically the next generation Sakura, though. Like, she's supposed to be super smart and shit. So,
Wait,
as...
so,
Huh?
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Has
Yeah.
Sakura really not been like, come on, kid. You're at least half as smart as I am.
Yeah. I hate the D times D community so much. So as usual, I want to actually like check out the reviews before we get into this one story, because this has 2,676 favorites and 3,000 follows. Now, admittedly, it has been updating for almost a year now. I mean May 10th, but you know, a decent amount of time. So, but let's see. Great fanfic. I would love this. This is so amazing. I want more. This is so amazing. So amazing. This is so great. Oh my god. So good. More please. More please. More please. More please. More please. More please. Oh, this one guy's just fucking leaving those shit reviews like every single chapter.
The thirst is real. Now, I haven't actually read this story, but because it's a D
What
times
the
D
fuck?
story, I can assume the thirst is real.
I'm actually going to screen cap this real quick and send it to the author. I'm going to ping Zarland for this. So Zarland's actually an author I follow, and I'm in his Discord. So I'm going to ping him and shame him for this, because he said, wow, this was fun. I'm disappointed in you. Alright, so let's get into this story and see how awful it really is. The conclusion we take from the reviews is it's fucking shit. Yeah, I mean, if the reviews are constantly talking about how fucking great it is, it's usually shit. If the reviews are one-liners and it's only one-liners nearly the entire thing, it's usually a bad story. Good stories are the ones that get reviews with like paragraphs of, hey, I really liked all this things that you did in it. I've read all of it. Oh, big. Oh, baby. Why did you do this to yourself? Hey, whoa, hey, ho.
What's so wrong? What's wrong?
Lupin is online. I'm gonna try and get him in here.
Oh yeah, torture that poor bastard.
Lying in a puddle of his own blood and water. Jesus Christ. Edgy Banner.
His own blood and water? What water?
Yes, his water.
Is Naruto a woman? Is this a male pregnancy? Can I leave yet?
That's how I communicate with people, Arn. Oh, wow, Bake. I am so sorry for not starting this podcast sooner then. A young boy could be seen staring up at the sky. His blue eyes slowly lost their light as blood exited his body from the fish-shaped hole in his fish-shaped chest.
I wonder what hit him. Do you think it was a fist?
No. Is this how it ends? The boy thought as his blonde hair and blue eyes stuck to his face from the rain that cascaded upon his dying form. It didn't even get to be Hokage. How could it go so wrong so fast? The boy couldn't help but wonder. Flashback! The day had started off like normal with him waking up, eating breakfast, and brushing his teeth, and that's when it spiraled out of control. He had been called into the Hokage office, along with his fellow graduates and friends. Sakura, his crush, was there as well, looking particularly distraught. He was called into the office with his fellow graduates and friends. Also, Sakura was there. I know no one can actually see my face right now, but I am immensely disappointed in the author. It was then that Tsunade, the current Hokage, in case anyone forgot, explained the reason for the girl's current state.
They go through Hokages like they're candy. That's a pretty fair thing to be sure people are up on.
Did I just pull a James Bond on us? I have no idea what that means. You have to elaborate. Anyway, as I was saying. Current reason for the girl's current state. Sasuke. His friend, or at least ex-friend, had left Konoha in favor for getting power. The first emotion that Naruto felt upon hearing this was anger. Angry at how Sasuke could leave them all behind. He had everything Naruto wanted in life. He had his family slaughtered. He has basically no financial management and a large empty compound to stare at every day to remind him of his losses. Oh yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want that?
It doesn't say that. People looked at him. Girls were interested in him. What?
I said I know it doesn't say that.
I know. That was me doing a little skit.
Oh.
You pronounced the word like Sean Connery as James Bond. I'm Bond. James Bond.
So he sounded like his usual drunk self.
Girls aren't interested in Naruto. Yes, I'm Sean Connery.
I'm being offended on behalf of that poor man.
The boy was called a prodigy, and he threw it all away. For what? Power. Not author. I'm gonna have to fault your logic there because this isn't canon logic. I'm gonna have to fault the author's logic there for the fact that it is quite clear that power also attracts women, makes people look up to him, and makes people favor you. Obviously, barring Trump, but I mean, fucking, celebrities.
Well, I mean, look, you gotta put a little bit of effort in, and not look like a goddamn Cheeto.
I mean, I honestly don't know if that's... Because, like, I've seen multiple pictures of the guy, and sometimes his skin color looks perfectly normal. And I don't know if this is like a filter some of the cameras are using, or if they're just catching him in a bad light. I don't know. It makes me confused how his skin tone can be fucking Cheeto orange in some pictures and then perfectly normal peach pale in others. He said the name of the guy with a guinea pig on his head. Yes, I did say names. Sins indeed. Oh, hello, Nexus. I thought it was a cat. Who knows these days? I don't keep up on it. Yes, Sasuke told them of his dream. No! Ambition. Really, author? He wanted to kill his brother, the same brother who had killed off his entire clan in a single night. Naruto couldn't understand how he could always act so grumpy. I'm just gonna hold it down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's a good amount of sins for that. Man. Why is Sasuke so grumpy? His own brother only killed his entire family and extended family. And then tortured him for 72 hours. Why is he so grumpy?
He just needs to loosen up.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too, Art. So, Lupine is currently rapidly cycling through games on Steam to try and be like, no, I can't come on the stream. I'm playing this video game. But I can see it all because he's on my Steam friends list. Oh, good times, good times. Anyway, so blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. So why? Why was he lying here? Oh, guys, I guess the flashback ended in the Valley of the End with a fist-sized hole in his chest, as opposed to a van-sized hole in his chest. Didn't he see? He only wanted to bring him back. This is where you use nouns, author. This is the important part when you're having two people of the same sex being referred to in a single sentence without any indications of the person who is doing the heing and the person who is doing the heat upon. Dumbstrom. I don't even know what's happening in our chat anymore.
I've just been ignoring chat.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. He chuckled weakly as blood escaped his lips. She would probably be disappointed if she would see him now, calling him a failure. A failure! It was a term often associated with him. Looking back at his life, Naruto couldn't help but agree. They labeled him as a failure of a shinobi, having failed graduation several times. I would also like to point out that I don't understand why everyone's like, Naruto, you're a failure. You failed to graduate early 3 times. Okay? He still graduated with his age group, though. That would be like someone in freshman year of high school trying to get their GED each year. And in their senior year, they get their GED anyway. And it's like, oh, that person's such a failure. It's like, no, they still graduated with their age group.
They just didn't graduate early.
Not Sneaky is ignoring us. It's not like anyone cares about Atin.
That's fine. I'll just leave.
They labeled him as a fail, blah blah blah. He ain't never let it show, though, how much those words got to him. No, Instead, he kept smiling, loudly proclaiming how he would one day become Hokage, how one day they would no longer look at him in disgust or loathing, how it would be replaced with respect and adoration. It truly was a child's fantasy now that he thought about it. He coughed up blood, as he could feel himself getting more tired. More tired? The longer he was lying there, blanking out for short periods of time as he put effort into keeping his eyes open. If only, Naruto thought, if only he would have fought back more seriously, if only his sensei has taught him, perhaps, then he would be now on his way to Konoha, dragging a battered and bruised Sasuke behind him. And if only Sasuke wasn't so obsessed with killing the person that slaughtered his whole family!
How very unreasonable of him.
But alas, his life had been against him from the start, he realized. With that, he closed his eyes. A bittersweet smile of acceptance graced his face. And with that, Uzumaki Naruto, Kyuubi Jinchuriki, son of Uzumaki Kushina and Minato Namikaze, had died. Hello, Ozzy. Line break! Not too far away, two blurs could be seen traveling through the forest at high speeds. How far away are we, Pakun? Kakashi asked as his lone visible eye focused onto his smaller travel companion. We're close. I can smell blood from here, Pakun replied, its enhanced senses due to him being a dog. Nodding grimly, they increased their pace as Kakashi could feel lingering traces of the Kyuubi's chakra pass by him. Is this? Kakashi muttered as he looked at the Valley of the End that showed signs of a large battle having been fought. Kakashi! His companion muttered as he held its paw out. It's a he, not an it. Towards a small speck lying in the middle of the valley. Oh, God! Naruto! The one time you're actually supposed to use Kami and you didn't. Kakashi screamed after focusing on it and recognizing the blonde hair of his student. Wasting no time, Kakashi jumped down before sprinting over to where one of his students was lying. No, 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 no! No! Kakashi repeated, losing composure as he got closer and closer and noticed he wasn't breathing. Kakashi wasn't breathing? Pronoun errors. A fist-sized hole was in his chest.
This show is dumb, and I hate it. What did I miss?
A fist-sized hole is in his chest! Did you know that?
Nope.
Also, you missed me knowing, like, I was, what's his face? Darth Vader. Yeah, did you hear about the hole in his chest? And how it was the size of a fist?
Wait, I thought it was van-sized.
No, that's fake news.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Don't you know, Arn, all fists make the same size hole in a chest, no matter their size? Come on, Arn.
I'm sure that
Be more
someone
progressive.
clever could make a good bridge joke out of that, but I'm too stupid.
Indeed. Anyway, so blah blah blah, edgy, oh my god, Naruto dead, edgy, pros, edgy, blah 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 blah. A funeral was held later, blah 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 blah. Everyone was sad, and blah blah blah. Everyone was sad, and
You know
people were
what? Just
sad.
once, I want the author who's writing about how everybody hates Naruto to have the Naruto funeral be like, everybody was happy. They turned it into a village holiday.
Oh no, I've seen that before.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I tend to
So
say-
the sequence of events for that one went Naruto dies, and the village celebrates, and then the third Hokage snaps and starts slaughtering people.
See, now that sounds interesting. Please tell me it was well executed.
No, it was fucking terrible.
God. I assumed it was terrible, but I held out for a tiny glimmer of hope.
And they played Amazing Grace on bagpipes while the whales in the background cried their sad songs.
I see.
And then Toto played Africa.
Interesting.
Naruto turns into Bleach. I would love to see Naruto turn into NCIS so that Naruto can be head slapped by the Gunny Gibbs. Do you mean the series turns into it, or the character? Because if it's the character, I have a lot of questions.
Naruto becomes a universe.
Naruto ascends beyond everything and turns into a universe in which NCIS spawns from. I'd love to see you get turned into NCIS. Anyway, blah 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 blah. A ranked missing nin, very big bounty. Blah 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 murder. Then everyone is holograms. Important news! Kyub Jinchurk dead! It report none other than Uchiha Sasuke, Itachi young brother as he tries stop him. But that's not all. Sasuke has been marked as A rank nin, wanted dead or alive. One could feel the amusement. Titch should have gotten rid of that brat. Now we have to wait several years. Itachi said nothing. Unfortunate setback. Itachi said nothing. Foolish little brother was all he said before vanishing behind and leaving an empty cave. Today, Mr. Bata, I will pay you for a hamburger today, tomorrow. The sound of a baby crying.
That's how that works.
No, it's definitely how that works. The sound of a baby crying was heard, coming from one of the many rooms of the hospital held in the underworld. Blah, 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 blah,
I
blah.
don't think these people understand how hospitals work.
No, he perfectly understands. This is D times D now, remember?
Of course.
Yes, so, blah, blah. So, he got named Naruto anyway. Why is he named Naruto? Because the author couldn't think up of an original name and wants to make sure everyone reading his story still knows that the person they've come to read the story for, which is Naruto, is still here, even if he's not technically really here anymore because he doesn't have his body, he doesn't have his memories probably, but he might still have his memories because authors are weird like that, and they're like, yeah, even though you got reborn as a baby, you still remember everything. And you don't lose any of those memories either. And you completely remember them for the rest of your life, even though a majority of the first 6 years you were born are pretty much a blank spot on every single person. Didn't we do this one already? I think we did. I think I complained about the same thing. I think this is a repost from the author.
I mean, we've complained about similar things in the past.
Anyway, so what happens next is a wall of text. What the fuck? And then the author apparently loses the ability to capitalize proper letters. Alright, so we're just gonna move on then. The Reclaimers for Remnant. Halo Ruby Cross.
Oh, God, no.
No? Okay. Halo...
No, let's do it. I'm just saying, oh God, why?
No, actually, you know what? We're doing this one. Into the Light. A Pokemon Halo Cross.
I hate you.
As always, it's found in the Discord if you wish to follow along. Yo, you still have to finish Ayn Rand. Oh yeah, you're right. I'll do this after this fic then.
We have to finish what?
The Ayn Rand story that Arn paid us to read. Remember stuff from 2.5 years on. Didn't that itself deserves 2 million. Apparently, we read that one like super long ago. Anyway, I'm off. Okay, bye, Calvin. Into the Light.
Bye, Calvin.
FFG 202 crashed in uncharted world with very strange creature that inhabit it. Troy 172, the self-insert OC, has managed to survive with a rampant AI in his head. He has to try and find a way back home before it's too late, but his presence will not be unnoticed. For there are larger things at risk than anyone can ever imagine. I do not own Pokemon or Halo. Daisy 023 times self-insert OC parentheses rewrite pending.
Boy.
Whew. Okay. I want to know what we're getting into with this. Please continue. Great story. What? Oh god, he starts referencing Red versus Blue.
Oh, sweet God, no. Red versus Blue is not part of the Halo canon.
Well, no, I generally dislike it when people try and throw Red versus Blue references into Halo. Not because it's not part of canon, but because specifically they try and mimic Red versus Blue jokes without having the comedic talent of Red versus Blue's writing team. And so they're just like basically variations of a joke that Red versus Blue already made, but worse because the author doesn't know how to deliver a punchline.
Also, a lot of their humor is visual gags. Or has a visual gag component.
Zarlan responded with, I really enjoyed reading it because of how awful it was.
I can respect that.
To be honest, most authors have worse humor than a dead fish. Oh, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah. Not saying that my humor is fantastic. But I personally like to think that I have a modicum of humoristic talent. Anyway, prologue.
Well, I mean, the old joke is, I think I'm hilarious.
All the voices agree with me. I have more fun walking around with a fish corpse than reading anything tagged with humor. Well, as the trope goes on this podcast, if it's tagged with humor, it's probably not funny. It was a brisk afternoon as the sun started to dip below the horizon. A gentle summer breeze blew through the forest. Flocks of bird Pokemon flew above the lush green trees. A dirt path cut through the forest heading towards a clear crystal lake. Walking along the trail was a lone female trainer and her starter. She was happily walking down the path to the lake like there wasn't a worry in the world. But she didn't look like your average teenager because, you know, teenagers, they all look the same. That's what teenagers are known for, conforming.
I mean, have you been in a Hot Topic lately? It's the same fucking person copy-pasted 17 times.
Okay, I mean, yes, that is fair. Also, that face when you beat a Soviet so hard in Hoi 4, it crashes. Walking along the road, she easily stood at 5.5. You can't just say 5 and 6 inches. Okay. 5.5 feet tall. Deep blue eyes that almost were as blue and deep as the ocean. Her natural pink hair flowed lightly in the summer breeze, but came slightly past her ears. Her long, slender body cast a shadow that shaded her starter from the sun's rays. A pink shirt with light blue cuffs shielded much of her upper body from the elements. Her lower body was covered by a thigh-low pink skirt with a bit of cyan
don't forget,
mixed
the author
into
put
it.
5 instead of writing it out.
Yes, that's so. Well, I mean, when it comes to feet, you can sort of get a pass because it is sort
Still
of
a grammatical
notated like
sin.
that. Really?
Yep. Numbers smaller than 100 are to be written.
Yeah, I can see it. Like I said, it sort of gets a pass.
After all, as you are so fond of saying, have you read a book?
Yes. Well, no, I have read books that have done that. That's what I'm saying, is sometimes it does get a pass.
Then those books were wrong.
Yes, the books can be wrong. Alright. A pink shirt with like blah 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 blah. Period. Pink boots and light very blue socks. Period. A red watch phone device on her right wrist. Period. She slung her pink bag over to her other shoulder, so the weight doesn't hurt her. She slung it. So she's just like, bang! Get over there! And punched it so hard it switched shoulders.
I mean, that's impressive. I can't even be mad.
If you hadn't guessed, pink and blue were her favorite colors. No, I thought pink and cyan were her favorite colors. So, no, I didn't guess it. You know, just putting that out there. She didn't act like most girls her age. You see, she was different. She waited until she was 16 to get her starter Pokemon. She felt getting her starter at 10 was a bit too young. She spent the 6 years learning how to properly take care of them and how to understand her Pokemon when they started playing charades to let her know about something. She passed a sign that read, Lake Verity, 1/4 of a mile. We're almost to Lake Verity. I hope the stories of the shiny Gyarados is true. Emily Blitz excitedly said to her starter. You see why all these pauses are happening? It's because they're all periods. The author doesn't know how to write a flow. It also, unvaried sentence size, really. It's just like same size sentence, same size sentence, same size sentence, super fucking long sentence. What? I'm educating people. I'm not giving it sins for that. It's not really well-known knowledge. What? Walking along her is Grace the Snivy. her starter from over a year ago. Snivy was a bipedal reptile Pokemon. Looked a bit like a... Okay, honestly, I'm just gonna stop describing shit right here. And just ask everyone here. If you did not know Pokemon going into this story, do you give a flying shit what any of these Pokemon look like?
The answer should be no.
1 year and it's still a Snivy. That is a fair point. 1 year and it's still a Snivy, and you got it when you were 16, so you should at least be smart enough to battle it and train it properly to make it evolve. That is a fair point.
Shove a grass stone in its face. Leaf stone, sorry.
Shove a bird stone in its face. For the bird type. But but seriously, honestly, so Atin, imagine, because I know you really like Halo, imagine you're coming into this story because you're like, Halo and Pokemon, I don't know what the fuck Pokemon is, but Halo, yeah! And you get into this story, and this is the first thing you read. Well, what's your reaction?
When the fuck is this gonna get to the people that I want it to get to?
Yeah, right. And so this is the part that this is actually like I could sit down and I actually get to talk about this kind of shit, because this is actually sort of important. Like, this is the difference between writing fan fiction and writing something that people will read and forget that it's fan fiction, because that is the epitome of what every fan fiction author should want. Like, even if it's just a hobby, even if they're just like, I really just like this show and I just wanted to write a story for it. Your goal should always be, when you're writing a story, I want people to forget that this is fan fiction. I want people to be sucked into this story and then be like, oh wow, that wasn't professionally made? Like an actual comedian, if you're doing a humor story, or like an actual writer, like, didn't sit down and like make this published? Like, this is just for free? Like, That's what you want to be your end goal. People sitting down and going, wow, that was fucking amazing, holy shit. Whether it's a crack story or just a shitpost, because we've seen the Monica Metal Gear cross. Do you remember that?
No.
That was one of the few stories we gave a 100 out of 100 to, because of its highest tier shitpost quality.
Which story?
The Monica and Metal Gear cross.
Yes. Now I remember.
Highest tier shitpost. The effort put into that was fantastic. That's what you want. It doesn't matter if it's a shitpost, a crack story, or your serious attempt at introducing something into a series. And my problem is, and then the author goes on, so after this long-ass, boring paragraph talking about the starter Pokemon, the author then puts a paragraph AN in there going, I'm bad at describing Pokemon. If I get the description wrong, please Google it. So A, this prologue and its extended descriptions are being written with the idea that Halo fans are going to be reading this story, as a Pokemon fan should know what a Snivy looks like. Or should know how to find how a Snivy looks like, if they are a Pokemon fan. So, if you are a Halo fan coming into this story, and it's just a fucking long-ass prologue of shit you don't care about, with descriptions of shit you also don't care about, and then the author puts an author's note in the middle of their damn chapter going, I'm probably doing this wrong, just Google it. Guess who's not reading the fucking story anymore?
First of all, Sneaky, please, I know you have a pre-prepared rant for this. Please rant about why you should never put an author's note in the middle of your story.
Alright, so the other part of why you should never put an author's note in the middle of your story is because it breaks your flow, and flow is one of the hardest things to keep going. And actually, yeah, it's the hardest thing to set up, it's the hardest thing in your story to keep going. And you break the flow, you disjoint the reader.
If you somehow manage to get people invested in your story, great. Now you have to keep them invested.
Like, the thing is when it comes to flow, flow can make up for almost every other deficiency in your story. Is the plot a little bit weak? Maybe. Is your spelling a bit bad? You know. You know what? That's what we have to do. In honor of Stefan, we need to write We Are Number One, but with fanfiction terms.
9!
But, in all seriousness, like, you know, flow can overcome nearly any deficiency in your story. Is your character descriptions not the best? Is your character action not the best? Are your action scenes a little bit weird? It doesn't matter. If you can keep a person continuously reading, their brain will fill in the blanks. If you disjoint them from the story, they'll start noticing the problems.
Fill in the blanks better than you could have anyway.
Yeah, usually. But if you disjoint them with an author's note with some atrocious words, like I'm saying, like, I got my I and E mixed up, people will not notice that usually unless they're specifically looking for it. If they're just reading through, their brain's gonna automatically correct it. It's a documented thing. But if you just, like, you absolutely butcher a word, that breaks the flow. If you put an author's note in there, that breaks the flow. If you make something so nonsensical happen in a story where nonsensical things typically aren't supposed to be happening, that breaks the flow. Don't break flow. End of story. We're moving on. Wow, I'm actually really glad.
Later, I need you to read through a fight scene for me.
Okay, yeah, sure. What fight scene? Something you guys are writing?
Yeah, it's from mine and Max's shitpost extravaganza.
It traveled around the Unova region for 1 year and it's still a sniper. Yeah, wow, that is...
The Unova region? Alright, this person's hopeless.
That is pretty damn pathetic.
Also, side note, Pokemon really won't make that much of a difference in Halo. Like, okay, obviously some of the crazy strong ones might, but, like, a Snively's going to be eaten alive by the Cubbies.
Yeah.
They use plasma!
Yeah, see, that's always been the thing that's, like, so the canonical explanation as to why Pokemon throwing around these fucking crazy-ass abilities isn't, like, just exploding them into a shower of gore. And supposedly the canonic explanation for that is that they're attacking each other with aura, which is basically life force. And, yeah. So it's like, the aura takes the appearance of an electricity bolt. It's not an actual electricity bolt or some shit like that, or it's still technically an aura bolt that generates electricity or some shit.
Okay,
like,
but Sneaky, it's a grass type, and it's going to be shot with plasma.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, though, is... Then on the other hand, you have people with actual guns and actual plasma rifles, and that would just eviscerate Pokemon because they're built up to defend against aura attacks and not I use gun. Because I would like to point out, in the Japanese version of Pokemon, I use gun is actually a very effective defense against Pokemon. And I'm talking about, like,
Well, I was gonna say, remember the
870 shotgun.
Well, remember the one episode of Pokemon that got cut from America where the dude had an actual gun. Meowth was like, "Oh shit, he has a gun."
Yeah, like, actual guns kind of fucked everyone up still. So, I mean, just Halo in general kind of would just roll over Pokemon. Pokemon and Ruby semblances. Yeah, don't you know Beowulfs are Pokemon? Don't you know Nevermores are actually just dark type Pokemon?
But yeah, also the other thing is, like, okay, maybe some of the dragon types could be useful, but like, again,
Like
really
Hyper
not that
Beam
great.
would be useful. Ice Beam would be sort of useful. Maybe Electricity could act like an EMP and overload systems. Maybe.
Well, I mean, okay, the electric types would be super useful against like elites.
I mean, it would short circuit the shields, maybe, but you know. Actually,
Well, yeah, I'm saying like it would absolutely screw over the shield. So like, I guess if it's just like if you're just using Pikachu's as like.
All right, so Nexus, I'm actually going to learn you some knowledge right now. So, canonically speaking, as per the book transcriptions, and I believe it was Platinum, there is a small library in the upper left corner of the map that you can go to that talks about how humans evolved from Pokemon, and the reason why certain humans can use Aura is it's just a vestigial remnant of the days when humans were Pokemon and could use Pokemon attacks. And like that's also the explanation as to why humans can apparently get shot with flamethrower and shocked with electricity from like Pikachu and Charizard and shit and still be fine. Because technically they're still Pokemon and they're still like, you know, genetically predisposed to defending against aura attacks. So you've been learned some knowledge.
So when is there gonna be some crazy dude that comes along and is like, my goal is to de-evolve humans back into Pokemon?
I'm pretty sure that was a plot. I'm pretty sure that was several. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in both the shows and the movies, that was at least 2 to 3 plots. But yeah. Blah 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 blah. Flashback begins. Alright, good. So we're gonna get some walls of text. We're gonna get more characters we really don't care about. At least the author stopped trying to describe people. Flashback ends. Pokemon speech translator is off. Oh, Jesus Christ. So you did a flashback specifically so you could have the Pokemon talking, even though who's supposed to be doing the flashback? Who's supposed to be remembering this? Is this supposed to be the Snivy remembering this? Is this like an actual translation? It's just I Okay, so Grace is apparently having this flashback. Where in the flashback she knows what the Pokemon are saying. Because reasons. You're asking too many questions. Yeah, I know I am apparently. Yes, Pokemon humans and Halo humans are completely 100% genetically divergent. I mean,
Sneaky Pokemon 40K crossover. Purge the mutant.
Indeed. I mean, the other thing you have to keep in mind is some species can look similar through the different combinations of different genes that produce cosmetically similar results. Shit, what am I thinking of? There's this one, I mean, you know, apes are a decent example of this. Is we actually don't share that much important DNA with what's the farthest one? whatever farthest ape there is on the
Well, isn't it
family tree.
like baboons?
It's something like that, but like we don't share a lot of DNA in terms of like obviously a lot of animals share a lot of DNA, but I think we have more DNA in common with like fucking potatoes or something. But anyway, I'm not a geneticist. Don't quote me on any of this shit. But TLDR, we have a lot of different genes. Those genes somehow combine to produce similar results, even though they're not related to each other. If people came from Pokemon, does that explain the lack of nipples on Kukui? Because Nuzleaf has nipples. I don't know. I'm not even gonna. We share 50% of our genes with bananas. Exactly. Same genetics, different combinations, massively different results. It works the other way too. But yeah. Obviously, the two wouldn't be able to breed together. The Pokemon humans and the Halo humans that would produce no offspring because the genetics would just be so vastly different. Externally 90%.
But I suppose technically you could bang your Gardevoir.
I mean, canonically, some Pokemon are just humans that have been transformed, like Abra.
Or don't forget like all of the ones where it's like this was a strangled child.
I mean, yes, and yes, a majority of ghost Pokemon are like children who died violent deaths and have done the X are now X. But Masco, or whatever the hell his name is, the ghost Pokemon that carries around a mask, and if you put on the mask, you can remember the human's life of that mask, and if you keep it on for too long, you get possessed by the Pokemon or some shit like that.
Yeah, and then there's one. It's literally just a stump that is children that died in the woods.
Yes.
That's how it gets born.
Yep.
And then there's one that's like all of the child's thrown away hopes and dreams or whatever.
That's Bayonet, Bayonetta,
the sexy Pokemon.
Yeah, one's the malevolent Pokemon, which is like the collection of curses gain sentience, and the other one, yeah, is the collection of hopes, dreams, and thrown away toys, and yeah, Phantom. Yeah, like Pokemon's fucking weird,
and don't
man.
forget Drifloon, whose sole purpose is to steal children.
Oh yeah, they just kind of kidnap kids, and now there's more Drifloon. Yeah. Grace was lost in her train of thought. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. They had to cover their ear holes. And then a meteor struck down, but it wasn't a meteor. It was a blah blah blah, a mystery aircraft, enormous aircraft. Everything's getting crushed. One Cricktot wasn't fast enough and got sucked into the non-flaming engine, causing an explosion. Jesus Christ. Wait, also, why are there jet engines?
Maybe
what?
It's a broadsword?
Is it a broadsword? Sleeker and bigger than most aircraft, engines on the wings, and a tail with multiple gun barrels. Is it a broadsword? I guess that's the best. Get to the fucking Halo re. We're at Halo now. You can tell we're at Halo now that a Pokemon has been fucking eviscerated by a jet engine. It skid along the path until it was out of sight. That's the wrong sight. The sound of a violent splish filled their ringing ears. Everything fled away. Let's go find it. Yeah, let's go. We have to see if they're still alive. I know you don't like it. I'll make you a deal. Grace raised her eyebrow. Okay, so Grace is the Pokemon.
Wait, what? What?
Also, AN. Author's note. Do Snivies have eyebrows? So apparently this whole thing has been from Grace's point of view. So why have we not been getting... If this whole thing is from Grace's... Wait, is this from Emily's point of view or from Grace's point of view?
I have no idea, lad.
Author, Jesus Christ. I thought this was from Emily's point of view, and now they're talking like it's from Grace's point of view, which is the Snivy, and it's just like, wait, when did that happen? So they crash into Lake Verity. Can you tell me what's wrong with her? A deep, scratchy voice. They ran behind a tree. What was that? 3 dead Luxray littered the ground. Rabid black and blue lions. I mean, they're not rabid until they're foaming at the mouth. One was flattened into the ground, and the other one had several cuts and scrapes, and the last one's head was separated from its body. Well, I guess we have entered Halo.
So it would seem.
Sni, translator's note, means fucking kill me.
Indeed.
The armored figure was very tall. His armor was deep sea blue and had a rifle-looking weapon on his back, a pistol on his left thigh, and multiple areas off his armor had scratch and burn mark.
Wait, are they trying to say that the chief crashed his broadsword here from the
No, the self-insert OC crashed his broadsword here.
A real good explanation as to why a Spartan was in a broadsword.
Just by guessing and looking at her, she had internal bleeding along her abdomen and several brucan ribs, one of which punctured her right lung. Without an autopsy... That's not a sentence. Without an autopsy is not a sentence.
You do know autopsies are performed on the dead, not the living, unless you want them to quickly become the dead.
This is Tyler666, edgy OC, do not steal. Yes. I can't say for certain on everything what is wrong with her. I should... It's not how medical procedures work. If your lung is punctured, you're pretty much fucking dead if you were not in a hospital when that puncture happens. I mean, honestly, it really depends, but punctured lung, your time frame can be pretty much counted on a hand. I mean, you know, unless you treat it immediately and put pressure on it and, you know, make sure the bone doesn't go anywhere and, you know, do not do too much active movement, and then you kind of just extending the amount of time before you start choking on blood because your lung's filling up with blood. And once the one lung that's no longer working fills up with blood, it's going to start spilling into the working lung, and then you're actually going to start choking on the blood.
And not even being a Spartan stops that.
And which internally happens pretty fucking quickly. Because, you know, there's a lot of blood inside you. In case you didn't realize
now,
that.
This may come as a surprise to some, but you are in fact full of blood.
Yes, don't be shocked. I apologize to the children in the audience. But you are in fact filled with blood. She has an English accent. Which, what point of view are we talking about? Is this from Emily's point of view still? How does Emily know that this person has an English accent? Which kind of English? Are we talking about American English or UK English? Because at this point in the Halo universe, is there even countries anymore? Like, aren't they just kind of like the United Earth Directorate, basically?
There are countries still.
Okay. Friendly reminder, we're under attack by skeletons. Anyone could be a skeleton. I hear there's a skeleton inside you right now and you don't know it. Yes. If it's Snivy's point of view, why can't we understand? I don't know. That's what is confusing me so much. If this is Emily's point of view, we shouldn't have had the flashback that's from Snivy's point of view with all the translated words. But then it's back to Emily's point of view? Question mark. But then the author starts talking like it's from Snivy's point of view. But even though it's from Snivy's point of view, we still don't know what Snivy is saying. And now we're talking about the Halo characters using descriptors that a 17-year-old from Pokemonverse likely doesn't know.
I guarantee you a 17-year-old from the Pokemon universe does not know what a goddamn autopsy is.
Well, no. That's one of the persons talking that she's listening in on, that the Spartans haven't heard.
What? I'm so confused. What is going on? When did we get extra characters?
They remember they crashed and then they just teleported outside of the Broadhead and...
Oh, yeah.
And now they're just talking out in the open, surrounded by corpses of Pokemon that they killed. Anyway, so,
Yes.
she had long hair, wore lab coat, and blue pants. Weird thing was, she was blue, able to see through in few areas, so small she stood on a tiny chip in front of the Raichu. What Raichu? When was there a Raichu?
Where did the Raichu come from?
Where did the Raichu come from? Okay, kneeling over a Raichu. Okay.
Alright, that's on us. We just missed that.
Where did the Raichu come from? There are no Raichus there. Why is there a Raichu at this lake? Now,
Something migratory herd of Raichus.
apparently it was carrying its eggs, though. So it wasn't migratory. It was nesting there. Alone. In a country that doesn't have Pikachus. From Mars.
It's the perfect place to make sure that no other Raichu will ever be as special as theirs.
Indeed. Okay, so let me get this straight. So, the AI is diagnosing a creature they have never witnessed before by looking at it from the display chip Spartans carry. Specifically, Spartan 2s carry. I can't speak for any other Spartan.
As far as I know, remember, Spartan 2s, they could tap directly into the neural cortex.
That's what I'm saying. As far as I know, Spartan 2s and their armors made for them are the only ones that could carry onboard AI.
No, I mean, any variant of the Mark IV could. Any variant of Mark IV Spartans could. Because remember, they have Mjolnir variants.
Yeah, I know they do, but I thought like it was like the implants that the Spartan 2s got were vital for the whole onboard AI jack into my head thing. Like, I don't... Like, the port isn't naturally there on the armor.
Oh, no. It's they just... No, yeah. All they had was a special neural implant. Anyone else could get that neural implant. In fact, it was said theirs was something along the lines of theirs was similar to the one that the commanders, that, like, it was similar to a command interface, just a little bit more advanced.
Yeah.
But so, like, normal people could get them.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. We know normal people can get a somewhat downgraded version of it, so a Spartan 4 could easily get a variant of that. And Spartan 3s definitely could, because Spartan 3s are closer to Spartan 2s than to Spartan 4s.
But I really don't think they would spend too much money on the Spartan 3s in terms of putting them with
They
an
wouldn't.
AI.
I'm just saying a Spartan 3 could happen.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Like like maybe they gave it to one of the headhunters to see how having an AI helped them on their missions or something.
Yeah.
Something
Anyway,
like that.
so anyway,
Incidentally, just a side note.
yeah,
Headhunters are probably one of the coolest things to come out of the Spartan 3s.
probably. So anyway, point being is the AI is doing bullshit. She is dying. You didn't grab a med kit in time before jumping on the Pelican. Pelicans don't have jet turbines.
The fuck did I just walk into?
Pelicans do not have jet turbines, Max.
I'm aware. What is the context?
It's a Pokemon Halo Cross, where the author spent like the first quarter of the chapter being really boring with their Pokemon descriptions, like they were doing excessively long Pokemon descriptions, so people from Halo would know what everything looks like. But the problem
And
there
they
was
just said, "Fuck it, I'm bad at this. Go Google it."
yeah, but the problem there was
in the middle of the story.
In the middle of the story, there's an author note saying, "Go Google this. I'm bad at writing." And the problem with that is if you're coming from Halo and you don't know Pokemon, you're going to be turned off immediately from all this. And if you're coming from Halo and you do know Pokemon, you don't need these descriptions.
One of the lamest starters ever.
Yeah.
A Snivy. Like, at least go with, like, a tiny fire-breathing lizard, or a fucking Squirtle, or, like, anything that isn't a grass type.
Yeah. But, yeah, so apparently this person's incompetent.
Cooler than a grass type starter.
Like, they waited 6 years. They didn't go in at 10. They waited 6 years to get their Pokemon. Because they took those 6 years to learn how to properly raise them and shit. So they wait 6 years to get their Pokemon. They get the Snivy, travel around Unova for 1 year, and the Snivy still doesn't fucking evolve during that time period. And then they're walking towards Lake Verity, and then the Halo ship comes crashing down, and then a Pelican disembarks, and...
But it's not a Pelican, because we're pretty sure what they described as a broadsword.
Yeah. And then a Crickrot gets caught in the turbine of the flying vehicle, and it crash lands. So now we're sitting here like, what Halo vehicle has turbines? And we're like, oh, maybe it's a broadsword. And now the author's like, no, it's a Pelican. And we're just sitting here like, Pelicans don't have turbines. Where is this Raichu from? Well, how is an AI diagnosing it without any form of scanning or medical records?
Technically, they do have turbines, but those turbines are sealed off.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what you missed. Also, we covered an early story that we covered previously, and it had been so long we had forgotten we previously covered it.
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's keep going. Apparently a med kit was supposed to save this Raichu, who has a pierced lung from a broken rib and massive internal hemorrhaging. A med kit. This isn't D&D. You don't just roll some dice and now you're healed.
I mean, I guess technically you could biofoam the lung, but...
Well, the problem there is now your lungs filled with biofoam. You're still suffocating to death.
Right, no, but like, if you fill the punctured lung with biofoam, like, yes, you're still going to be slowly suffocating, but you're not... it would theoretically extend the lifespan.
Okay, yes, but the problem still remains is that they do not know what this creature is. They do not know how to treat it. They do not know if there is a hospital for the creature in the area.
I agree with all of that.
It's just like, if we had a med kit...
I linked a Pelican dropship in the Fic 9K Discord.
Yeah.
Go ahead and look at that and tell me where the fucking turbine is. That a Pokemon could get pulled into.
Yeah. I'm not seeing any turbines there. But that is a pretty dank looking Pelican.
I think that's fan art, judging by the Deviant Art sticker.
Yep.
Yes, but it is still a correct depiction of a pelican.
But anyway, so blah blah blah. There's only one option. Armored figure got up and picked the chip up. He slipped it into a port on his neck. The poor Pokemon opened its eyes to see the armored figure pat its head with a smile. It tried to hand him her egg. I'm not even gonna comment. I'm not even gonna comment. Grace.
Okay, why can I not get a shot of a rear-loading pelican? Jesus, there we go.
Grace looked wide-eyed as she saw what was happening. Pokemon were normally very protective of their eggs, not letting anyone touch them. Yet right here before her eyes was a Raichu giving this alien thing her egg. Either she trusted the thing that she just met, or she ate a bad berry.
Or, who knows, maybe she thought, man, this thing just wiped me the fuck out.
Wow!
Wants my egg.
Oof! Wow! Look how... That was a fantastic joke, author. Oh, wow. Just, wow, that was fantastic. Well placed joke, author. I mean, wow. I mean, I haven't seen a joke that good since the last fanfic review we did.
Oh, God.
And by joke, I mean this entire story is a joke. Why is she giving me the egg? I don't know anything about animals' natural behavior. She looks to be in a lot of pain. You know what must be done. Shoot her in the face. He put the egg down. He pat the Pokemon on the head. And then shot it in the face.
Am I gonna have to go down to my 360 and load up the Master Chief Collection to get a decent shot of a rear-loading pelican?
Yes. Grace was horrified at the sight. Again, you do not know what words you are using. That word does not mean what you think it means. Putting a hand on her mouth so she doesn't make a sound, yet a low gasp escaped. The armored figure quickly turned around and aimed his weapon at the tree where they were hiding behind. Who's there? Show yourself, he demanded with both hands up. Wait. He has both hands up and he's demanding it, or?
I don't know.
Because that's where the sentence ends.
He demanded.
He demanded, period, with
both
hands up, period. Who has their hands up?
I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be a comma.
Speaking, everybody throw your hands up in the air like you just don't care about proper grammar.
Emily and Grace walked out from behind the tree. Where his face should have been was replaced with a golden visor that reflected their image. Small cracks was along the right side of Gold Visor.
Their pelican just... okay, a pelican crashed. First of all, pelicans are designed... The Pelican Bay and the Pelican cockpit are damn near crash-proof.
Yeah, they're kind of designed to become drop pods when shot down.
Like, normal human beings have survived pelican crashes perfectly fine. This is a Spartan, and you're telling me that not only did this pelican crash hard enough to injure a Spartan, but to also damage Mjolnir armor. The armor that is so tough that the armor has survived orbital descent even when the person inside has not.
Yeah. Yeah. Gun is shoot. Yes, indeed. Gun was shoot. Why was this being pointing his weapon at them? Why was the thing he put inside his armor? And why was he here?
Fuck you, that's why.
Apparently then they copy and paste the didact epilogue speech at the end of Halo 4.
The didact?
Yeah, whatever. This is the end of the prologue. I hope you all enjoyed it.
I managed to forget that didact existed. Why did you have to remind me?
I mean, I'm actually kind of interested in this story to see how many more time gun is used as a Pokemon move.
Wait, what?
I cast gun.
I cast gun. Oh no!
Is that like a wizard gunslinger in D&D?
No, you see, you
that what
cast gun,
happens?
and it creates this great astral gun that then points at the person and shoots them.
So we're a magical
Well, I
girl
mean,
anime now.
Sneaky. Technically, if you had a priest that multiclassed into a gunslinger, they could create an astral weapon that was a gun.
Oh god.
You're right.
I should not have suggested that.
Wait, so does that mean we're Undertale now?
Shut the fuck up.
No, those aren't guns. Those are skulls that shoot lasers.
No, they're in Undertale. The yellow soul summons a gun to shoot. That's what the yellow soul does. People who have courage summon guns.
Have guns.
Yes.
I thought that was fanon from that
No.
amazing
Nope.
Undertale animation.
No,
I don't remember.
That's real.
I feel like you're bullshitting
No.
me. But I only ever did the pacifist route, so I really have no way of knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, the yellow soul shoot gun.
Well, that's also backed up by the yellow soul's like canon item is the toy gun.
Yeah.
Oh, there's just Undertale Yellow.
Yeah.
Is an RPG based on
it's
tabletop RPG.
Oh, speaking of tabletop RPGs, I actually had an idea.
Oh my god.
I actually had an idea how we could do the Ruby RPG that we were planning out and actually balance the damage values from guns on hunters and Grim HP without making it hyper tanky.
Cool.
Yep. So
when was the last time we talked about that?
Back when I was a senior in college. So 3 years ago.
You know, we never did get to finish that Fate game, Atin.
No, you didn't.
Around that time, I was enjoying that. Why did that group stop again? Like, I know why we didn't do the Ruby RPG we signed up for, because the guy was a cunt that just recruited all these people, and then halfway through character creation was like, I'm gonna rewrite it. I decided, fuck it, it's too much work, and just quit.
Well, and don't forget, that's how the Fate game started, because it was the 4 of us.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering why we didn't continue the Fate game. I feel like that would have been
What's the Fate
fun
game?
to just keep going. There's an RPG system called
we were
Fate.
playing Fate Stay Night.
No, don't lie to him. It's an RPG tabletop called Fate. It uses a, I guess like a 4 dice kind of system. It's really interesting. Super simple, too.
No, it was die 6.
Well, it was D6, but it used 4 dice in total. Right?
Yeah, Birdie, that's actually a really good point. Is she should have used a Unovan accent or a Alolan accent or something like that, yeah. The author had the Pokemon character say that the AI was talking with an English accent, and the problem with that is there's no English in the Pokemon world, so there's no way they could have had an English accent.
In fact, unlike, say, Ruby or D&D, where they just straight up admit, oh yeah, it's this language, I don't think Pokemon ever says speak in blank language for a joke.
Yeah, no one...
Maybe some localization stuff, change some stuff to do that, but like...
The whole premise of this fic is not workable. I mean, yeah, more or less, honestly, that's the main problem here, is that it's either going to be a really short fic as Halo just kind of rolls over everything in the Pokemon verse besides maybe the legendaries, and that's more because they're like the concepts of
Look,
various
I'm sorry,
realities.
Arceus is strong, but I don't think Arceus is going to withstand, like, a spunker.
Well, that's true, except for the part where Arceus can just go, it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, that's fair, but what happens if, like, they get shot from 2 miles away because Spartans can do that with a sniper rifle? Like, you can't out-exist a sniper bullet out of existence if you don't know it exists.
I mean, that's fair enough. It was proven that Arceus can be ambushed, so, yeah. Just,
Yeah.
shoot God in the face with a sniper rifle. America, fuck yeah.
It's not how that works.
Technically, it's Canada, fuck yeah, because Canada currently has the sniper record.
Okay, well, Canada's America's hat, so we can take credit for anything they do.
I ain't touching this.
Not touching it.
Alright. So, is, Arn still here? Or, should we move on to the next fic?
Let's just finish reading the fic and get it done with.
Ah, he's good. He's still here. So we're gonna do more Ayn Rand.
Why did I come back?
Because you love us.
No, that's not it.
Also, let's be real, you're probably a little bit masochistic.
That's definitely not it.
What was there to be gained by fighting the most evil wizard who has ever existed, said Black, with a terrible fury in his face. Only innocent lives, Peter. You don't understand, whined Pettigrew. He would have killed me, Cyrus. Then you should have died, roared Black. Died, rather than betray your friends, as we would have done for you.
I mean, look, it's real easy to say that when you're not the one standing there about to be murdered.
I mean, that is actually a fair point. It is really easy to say you should have died when you weren't the one being killed. Because, as you know, people die when they're killed.
Like, I understand the whole anime trope about don't betray your friends and people who betray their friends are terrible people, but, like, occasionally some animes get it right, and they're like, I mean, he was being, tortured and threatened with death, and they were threatening to murder his family. I'm not a fan of you, but, like, I get it.
Yeah.
Actually, said Harry, pocketing his e-cigarette, Peter's pursuit of the rational self-interest is of higher moral order than your determination to kill yourself on another person's behalf. Cyrus, self-sacrifice is never the answer. It only ends in pain and death. Cyrus blanched. But Voldemort, we could have stopped Voldemort. It's a free market, Harry said, shrugging. Lupin turned into a wolf. Control yourself, Harry said. Good Lord, Matt. You're a being of pure will and drive. Exercise it. Lupin turned back into a man with flashing clear eyes and a jaw that could level a mid-sized office building. In the marketplace of ideas, Harry went on, Voldemort has the same right to disseminate his philosophy as you do. If his philosophy is sound, it will flourish. If his philosophy is unsound, then you have nothing to fear. Peter opened his mouth to speak. See, this is why I don't vote, Harry continued. He knelt and drew a circle in dirt. Let's say this circle here represents my own self-interest. I think we can all agree that my existence here is interchangeable with my identity. He laughed. It sounded like a cool mountainous stream. Now, let's say this circle over here represents Peter, a rational self-actor. Could you scroll a bit? The chat part covers the story. Yes, indeed. How about instead I just do this? And bang. But Aunt Marge suddenly stopped speaking. For a moment, it looked as though words had failed her. She seemed to be swelling with inexpressible anger, but the swelling didn't stop. Her great red face started to expand. Her tiny eyes bulged. Her mouth stretched too thinly for speech. Next second, several buttons had just burst from her tweed jacket and pinged off walls. She was inflating like a monstrous balloon. A reckless rage had come over Harry. He kicked his trunk open, pulled out his wand, and pointed at Uncle Vernon. She deserved it, Harry said with preternatural?
Sure, let's go with that.
Calmness. Make no mistake. Actually, you know what? I'm going to copy and paste this word to see how it's pronounced in the Discord. Preternatural. Okay.
That just happened.
Yes. Make no mistake, blah, 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 This was essentially a generous act. To have allowed her to continue to insult me would have been an act of self-genocide. She deserved what she got. You keep away from me. He fumbled behind him for the latch on the door. I'm going, Harry said. I want to be an architect. Uncle Vernon was purple with fury, but he said nothing. I'm going to build a building so tall you'll break your neck if you try to make eye contact with me, Harry said, and then he was gone. I want to commit the murder I was imprisoned for, Black growled. Well, everyone must do what he thinks is best, Harry said without looking up from his wizarding economics essay. I think Peter is under Hermione's bed. Luck and so on. Thanks. It may interest you to know that I object to prisons, morally, so let that comfort you while you're on the run again. Yo, fuck, I gotta stop this. Nah, no, you gotta keep subbing. Keep giving me that Twitch money. I've always been unpopular in the school, and it didn't bother me, Hermione explained, but now I've discovered the reason. It is impossible kind of reason. They dislike me, not because I do things badly, but because I do them well. They dislike me because I've always had the best grades in the class. I don't even have to study. I always get top marks. Do you suppose I should try to get poor marks for a change and become the most popular girl in school? Never let the failure of others induce you to achieve less, Harry said. Agreed, Hermione said, her eyes flashing like diamonds, which she was also wearing. As equals, I suggest we maximize our achievement by making out now. Before Harry could answer, Cho Chang entered the room. Harry, she cried, I wish to offer myself to you in recognition of your victory in today's Quidditch match. Frankly, I would like to make out with both of you, Harry said. I believe it would be efficient and would also maximize my enjoyment. Hermione frowned. Never get angry with a man for speaking the truth, Harry reminded her. Hermione smiled. Believing in yourself is sort of prayer. Hermione, you may make out with me first.
All right, I'll admit that was a good joke. I need a drink.
Then go get
I need a fucking drink.
You don't need any drinks.
I will be right back. I'm getting the honey vodka.
Oh, great. Well, now I'm left to fill dead air. How are you doing, Internet? Doing okay tonight? So what do we got? Don't have much going on. Just seeing what I missed in the chat. Not much. Oh,
Thanks, discount.
Oh.
It's just snippets of the book rewritten. Yes, Ayn Rand Harry Potter is just snippets of the book rewritten as Ayn Rand. Ooh. Ugh. That is strong stuff. I see why it was $50 now. Jesus Christ. Ooh. From someone who downs 2 liters of vodka in 2 hours. That is strong stuff. He felt the unnatural cold begin to steal over the street. Light was sucked from the environment right up to the stars, which vanished. The cold was biting deeper and deeper into Harry's flesh. Then, around the corner, gliding noiselessly, came Dementors, 10 or more of them, visible because they were of a denser darkness than their surroundings. With their black cloaks, they scabbed in rotting hands. Could they sense fear in the vicinity? Harry was sure of it. They seemed to be coming in more quickly now, taking those dragging, rattling breaths he detested, tasting the despair in the air, closing in. Suddenly, he heard them. Marxists. No, he whispered. We love you too, not sneaky number 2. When they get near you, he remembered Lupin saying, you will be left with only the worst memories of your life. Only together, collectively, can we achieve anything of lasting significance, he heard one of them say. Harry moaned in pain. The fortunate owe it to society to contribute to those who cannot work, another chanted. Harry closed his eyes and collapsed. A strong, central government, began a third. This was too much for Harry. He rose painfully to his knees and screamed, Expecto Patronum! A shining white dollar flew out of his wand. I am the strongest force there is, it shouted. I am an objective measurement of the good. I cannot be diminished or compromised. The Dementors scattered. Our worldview is corrupt and ineffective, one of them shouted as it scurried away into the night. Harry's Patronum lazily floated back to him and rested on the tip of his wand. I'm going to spend you, he said to it. And he did. Book 4. God damn it.
Why? Just why?
Yeah. I can't give you that answer, but no, I can't give you an answer. Cho Chang, Harry called from across the hallway and quickly closed the distance between them, like some sort of sexually compelling locomotive. The Yule Ball is tomorrow. I wish to acquire you for it. Say yes, now, with your mouth, before I cruelly crush it against my own, like some sort of sexual flower. Oh, Harry, Cho said. I'm sorry, but someone's already asked me, and well, I've said I'll go with them. I refuse to allow you to live in a world of the mediocre, Harry said, his eyes flashing flint and fire. You are the only acceptable mate for me, and I hold you in my arms in front of our peers at the Yule Ball. Reconcile yourself to your fate and wear something red or purple. Harry, I'm sorry, but you'll wear your hair down, he said carelessly. It suits you best that way. I have nothing left to say to you at present. I don't think I'll kiss you just yet. Go and make whatever feminine preparations you have to make for tomorrow night. Your watch is off by 14 seconds.
What did I come back to? I left to get honey beer from Alaska, and I come back to this.
I'm glad we're both drinking honey-based alcoholic products.
I'll give Alaska this. It's decent. And yeah. I'm not really a beer guy.
No. Unless you plan on making imprecision a habit, I suggest you correct it before I see you again. Harry! Hermione called out breathlessly, scurrying to catch up with him. Only no one could ever catch up with him, for he walked alone. I got you a Christmas present. Happy Christmas, Harry. It was a sweater she had knitted herself with the answer to every exam they'd be taking for the rest of the year, magically and visibly sewn into the fabric. That's fucking tight. Oh, Harry tossed it in his book bag. I got a present for you too, Harry said. Hermione's smile widened. Really? My present is the truth, he said. You don't look very good in green. I don't know why you're always wearing it.
Damn.
If you want to know what a man's like, Dumbledore said, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. Harry leaned back in his chair. No man is my equal. Harry, Dumbledore said sadly, you must not compare others so harshly against yourself. It is our duty to those weaker than ourselves to... I don't make comparisons.
When is Harry going to become Gilgamesh?
Probably by book 6.
Good.
Gilgamesh is more likable, I'm sorry.
He is.
You're not wrong.
Like, young Gilgamesh is a fucking awesome dude. He's a great friend. Then he grew up.
This
and
is
had to face the
my
harsh reality.
Gilga cycle!
Well, I was going to say, to be fair, his best friend was murdered.
Well, it's not just that. Like, he had to face the harsh reality at some point, and boy, did it fuck him up.
Alright, so point being, let's get right back on into this. I don't make comparisons. I never think of myself in relation to anyone else. I refuse to measure myself as part of anything. Harry, you preach selflessness, Harry said, but what you really mean to say is slavery to the collective. And with that, Harry awarded himself 6 owls, which was his right as an individual, and disapparated into Hogsmeade. The drinking age is fundamentally oppressive, he explained to Madame Rosmerta. Under a truly federalist system, youthful drinking is rightfully governed by laws of common sense and natural consequence. 1 fire whiskey, please. I can drink to that. Cheers. No. Oh. Oh, that stuff is strong. Malfoy flashed his support Cedric Diggory Potter Stinks badge from across the table. Ron sneered. Cedric Diggory, he said, thinks he's so great. He's not so great. Jealousy is a quality of the womanish and the poor, Harry said without malice, finishing a simple dish of plums. I suggest you free yourself from it. The merpeople branded their spears fiercely. Harry looked around. Ron, Hermione, and Gabrielle Declore drifted lazily through the water, arms bound uselessly behind their backs. Where was Fleur? Where was Crumb? Harry turned to face the merpeople. The true test is not whether a Triwizard Champion can perform an act of charity, an act of mercy, whether I'm capable of saving these victims, these leechers, these children. I can, I assure you. The question is whether I can do without them. Whether I can exist solely as my own entity. Whether I can perform an act of accomplishment. Harry carefully began placing the heaviest stones he could carry over the rope connecting Ron and Hermione until they were hopelessly enmeshed in the lake bed. The answer, of course, he said clearly, is that I can. He swam away. He swam alone. He had lost the task, perhaps, but he had won the only tournament that truly matters. The tournament of self. I hope you're not expecting me to apologize, he said, without looking up the next day when a very muddy and angry-looking Ron and Hermione appeared in the front door to his study. And don't come any closer. You'll track lake water all over my new rug. Listen, Harry. The third challenge. Do you have any idea what it's about? I can't seem to figure out the last clue for the life of me. If you want my advice, Cedric, you're making a mistake already. By asking me, by asking anyone. Never ask people. Not about your work. Don't you know what you want? How can you stand it not to know? Cedric shook his head. How do you always manage to decide? How can you let others decide for you? Do you always have to have a purpose? Do you always have to be so damn serious? Can't you ever do things without reason just like everyone else? You're so serious, so old, everything's important with you, everything's great, significant in some way, every minute, even when you're keeping still. Can't you ever be comfortable and unimportant? No, Harry turned away. I have to go think about trains now. Excuse me. Kill despair, whispered a hazy voice out of the darkness, and Harry heard Avada Kedavra, and he saw a flash of green light, and Cedric was dead. A pity, Harry said. He would have made quite a fine architect had he lived. Quiet, boy, I have you now. He turned to face his followers, who were not being recompensed financially according to their service, which was ridiculous. You know, of course, that they tried to have called this boy my downfall? You all know that on the night I lost my powers in my body, I tried to kill him, that his mother died in the attempt to save him and unwillingly provided him with a protection I admit I had not foreseen. I could not touch the boy. His mother left upon him the traces of her sacrifice. This is old magic. I should have remembered it. I was foolish to overlook it. But no matter. I can touch him now. Harry laughed. How dare you laugh at your death, you impertinent boy? Voldemort snarled. My mother's death was unnecessary, Harry said. It's not because she refused to honor her own life that you cannot touch me. It's because I have self-respect. Impossible, Voldemort cried. He shot all sorts of magic at Harry, but it didn't work. Self-respect is something that can't be killed. The worst thing is to kill a man's pretense at it. Harry turned to Voldemort's followers. You are all fools, mediocre fools, because you work not for money, but for the approval of others, for the approval of another man. But what of that man? Voldemort asked dangerously. What do you think of me, Potter? I don't think of you, Harry said. He disapparated back to Hogsmeade. I only think about trains. He ordered another fire whiskey and thought about trains.
Did he know?
Have you guys gone into my opinion expressed? I must now think about trains. Yes. Have you guys gone into a train coma? Are you guys alive?
What?
I'm so lonely.
What am I supposed to say to this thing, Sneaky?
I don't even know what the fuck is.
Really weird.
Did Sneaky just completely lose our voices?
Ah, that would explain
might
that.
What did you do?
Appears the battery has fallen out of my headset. And no one has informed me of this. Good thing my mic is not connected to my headset.
Yeah. That's great news. Quick, and start shit talking him while he's gone.
Alright, my headset now works once more.
I'll shit talk him to his face, Max.
Damn it.
Anyway, so were you guys saying anything important while I was unable to hear you?
I was trying to get Atin to shit talk you while you were gone, but it didn't work.
I mean, you only knew about that when I said it out loud, which was about like 10 minutes into me reading this without hearing from you guys. So you guys have been talking.
Oh, we've been saying things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Sneaky went crazy again.
God damn it, Sneaky.
I mean, I've just been reading this out loud, so it's not like it really changed because my mic is not on the same power line as my headset is. So even though my headset failed, my mic was still working. So everyone still heard me just fine.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're just saying
like,
we're annoyed because
we're
they're going to be
making
like, oh, they
comment.
were quiet for 10 minutes again. Meanwhile, we've been commenting this entire fucking time.
They literally said nothing? Alright, I'll believe that.
Oh, Okay, Arn. Okay.
You're a prefect? You know, for the longest time, I thought that was perfect. I always read that as perfect, because I didn't know prefect was an actual word.
Now we know you're wrong and dumb.
I mean, we already knew that about you, so I guess that makes us two idiots and a southerner.
It does indeed.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, that's enough for tonight. Jesus Christ, that shit is strong. Holy hell. Ron looked nervously at Harry. Harry betrayed nothing. You can't be you can be a wizard, Ron remembered, and you can be a man. It's good to be both if you can, but if you must choose, it is better to be a man and not a wizard than a wizard, not a man. That doesn't matter, Mum, Ron said tentatively. You should consider your children indifferently. Only on the basis of their values you can trade with them, rather than automatically preferring us simply because we have been born to you. It's the trader's principle, Mum. Miss Weasley let a crock pot slip from her hand. There's no reason my being a prefect to reflect on you either negatively or poorly. My achievements are my own, not yours. Harry almost smiled. Ron was becoming a person at last.
What? Oh,
This fucking story. The Sorting Hat leapt
It's
away.
a thing.
Yes. The Sorting Hat leapt from the stool and began to sing aloud. The entire school was transfixed. Said Slytherin, "We'll just teach those whose ancestry is purest." An obsession with ancestral purity, whispered Harry out of the side of his mouth, is the rankest, lowest form of collectivism. It is forged by steel and jaws and trains and bulging forearm muscles. It is a doctrine for and by brutes. Cho Chang took notes with an adoring pen. It was natural for her to venerate Harry, and it is natural for all true women to venerate great men. The uterus makes for a natural storage space for admiration.
Having a problem there, Sneaky.
A genius is a genius, Harry continued, regardless of the number of morons who belong to the same family, and a moron is a moron regardless of the geniuses who share his last name. He looked impassively at Draco, who shook under the moral purity of Harry's gaze. The hat sang on. Said Ravenclaw will teach those whose intelligence is surest. Sound enough, Harry said. Miller could stand to mention property rights. Remember that wealth is merely the byproduct of the intelligence and the work of individuals, as you cannot have effects without causes, so you cannot have wealth without its source, without intelligence. Hermione applauded spontaneously. Cho Chang glared at her. They were competing for the scarcest of resources, a real man. Said Gryffindor will teach all those with brave deeds to their name. Harry nodded. There was no need for words, so he spoke none. And said Hufflepuff, I'll teach the lot and treat them just the same. Harry's jaw trembled manfully. It like if a steam shovel were to tremble from being full of too many rocks. This is disgusting, he said. This is communism, and I won't stay to listen to it. It's been 14 years, and he's still not a day goes by I don't miss you, Dad, Cyrus said. That sounds like a waste of both time and personal energy, Harry said, smoking a pipe. I can assure you, no one in the grave spends their time missing you. Hem hem! Thank you, Headmaster, for those kind words of welcome, Umbridge said. The Ministry of Magic has always considered the education of young witches and wizards to be of vital importance. Although each headmaster has brought something new to this historic school, progress for the sake of progress must be discouraged. Let us preserve what must be preserved, perfect what cannot be perfected, and prune practices that ought to be prohibited. I mean, I find it mildly amusing that J.K. Rowling made a character who said, let us not be progressive for the sake of being progressive, a bad guy.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you know, just throwing that out there.
I'm not thinking about what a terrible author J.K. Rowling is right now because I'm listening to some Persona 5 music.
That's fair enough. Harry leapt off from his bench and drew his wand. This sounds despicably like regulation, he cried. Regulation is the enemy of good. Umbridge, whose face resembled nothing more than a surprised toad, quickly trundled Harry off to her office on the third floor, which was full of chintz and floral wallpaper, which was absolutely nothing like being on a train. It was like some sort of woman's room. But not the good kind of woman, the kind who wrapped her naked shoulder in steel and cool black fabric, and that kind of sensuality only success in the world of business can bring. The other kind. That was unwise, boy, she hissed, thrusting a quill into his hand. You will write I will not tell lies 100 times with this until it is etched permanently into your skin. Harry looked coolly at her, as if an iceberg were to make eye contact with you and remain unimpressed. He lifted the quill as if to begin, then immediately chopped off his own hand with it.
Of several questions.
With a quill?
With a quill?
With a quill.
Yeah.
I heard that correctly.
Yeah. Professor Umbridge screamed as the hand continued to draft architectural designs for several minutes on the floor. Harry wrapped his wrist and placed it efficiently behind his back before making a low bow. There is the hand, Professor, he said, inclining his head wirely to the floor. You ask it do whatever you wish. I remain free. Professor Umbridge called out in a quavering voice after Harry's retreating figure. Potter, Harry, sir. He turned and looked at her. Tell me about this freedom, she said haltingly. The freedom of the individual. Harry's lips curved into a small smile, the way a prow curves into the lines of a mighty ship. No, he said, and walked away.
I have so many questions.
Oh, God. Snape loomed out of the darkness of the empty potions room. Let us get these ridiculous occlumency lessons over with, he said, placing his wand on the desk beside him. Fools who wear their hearts proudly on their sleeves, who cannot control their emotions, who wallow in sad memories and allow themselves to be provoked so easily, weak people, in other words, are of little value on the open market, Harry finished for him. I quite agree. Snape looked at him with something strange brimming in his eyes. I believe I'm going to respect you after all, Potter. That doesn't matter, Harry said. Whether you respect me or not, I remain myself. Snape respected him even more for saying that. Do you see, Harry? Do you see the flaw in my brilliant plan now? I had fallen into the trap I had foreseen, that I told myself I could avoid, that I must avoid. Harry looked keenly at him. I cared about you too much, Dumbledore said simply. I cared more for your happiness than you knowing the truth, more for your peace of mind than my plan, more for your life than the lives of those that might be lost if the plan failed. In other words, I act exactly as Voldemort expects we fools who love to act. I do see the flaw, Harry said. How embarrassing for you. He rose to leave. My only loyalty is to the truth, which is the highest form of good and expresses itself in the form of money. Wait, Dumbledore called out after him. There is a room in the Department of Mysteries that is kept locked at all times. It contains a force that at once more wonderful and more terrible than death, than human intelligence, than the forces of nature. It is also perhaps the most mysterious of many subjects for study that reside there. The only room I care about, Harry replied, is the one with all the money in it. Do you mean the bank? Dumbledore asked. Harry waved his stump about impatiently. It has many names. I call it the Freedom Room. Please, Dumbledore continued desperately. Listen to me, Harry. It is the power held within that room that you possess in such quantities which Voldemort has not at all. That power took you to save Cyrus tonight. That power also saved you from possession by Voldemort, because he could not bear to reside in a body so full of the force he detests. In the end, it mattered not that you could not close your mind. It was my self-mastery and intrinsic sense of worth, Harry said firmly, and nothing more. Anyone raised by the free market would have done the same. I have been thinking about something Dumbledore said to me, Harry said. What's that? Said Hermione. That even though we've got a fight ahead of us, we've got only one thing that Voldemort doesn't have. Ron looked at him. He was so close to guessing it, but he wasn't quite there yet. Something worth fighting for, Harry said. A commitment to individualism, a rigorous methodology, a comprehensive philosophical framework that provides us a realistic alternative to emotionalism in the nanny state. Behind him, Cho Chang took notes. I'm so glad my old boyfriend is dead, she said, so that I have time to write all this down. Harry said nothing. Alright, and it is 9 o'clock, which means we will pick this book up next Friday. So that's that. Thank you everyone for joining us on this fine Friday. and adventuring with us into the depths of repeated fan fictions, absolute nonsensical stories, and of course, the only philosophy that makes sense, Ayn Rand Harry Potter. I'll see you all on Tuesday at around 7:30. I do have a 12-hour shift that day, and I can't really get out of it because, that's how things work. So, we will be starting a bit later than normal, and we'll be ending a bit later than normal. But I will
Now
see
remember,
you
folks,
Tuesday.
if you feel sorry for Sneaky, send him alcohol.
Yes, or money. I can also use money.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Money is exchanged for alcohol, so just skip the middleman. Give him the alcohol.
Yes, but money can also be exchanged for rent.
I would argue you can exchange alcohol for rent.
I mean, this is possible. But, anyway, let that be said. Goodbye. Good riddance. Avidase. Farewell. But come back next time, for there is always more, and it always